Hello, guys. Thank you for joining the channel once again. It is Plavi TV, and there is a very interesting debate that has been raised by the writer, the legend, Kwabena Eboa, and I just wanted to chip in and give my views on this particular debate. And this is what the debate is about. Let's have a listen to this audio right here.
Thankfully, we qualified for the World Cup, but a coach is as good as the materials he has. And my views are very different from the rest of the world.
Yeah, so a coach is as good as the materials he has. And here, I do agree with Kwabena Eboa about this. You are as good as the materials you have. Let's continue to listen.
The whole world stresses on coach are very different. I do not think that coaches are decisive. Coaches are important, not decisive. Footballers define coaches, coaches don't define footballers. So, depending on the materials available to the coach, it will determine how the coach performs.
So, footballers define coaches, but coaches don't define footballers. A coach's performance depends on the materials available. But my question is, don't coaches decide which players to select, which players to buy on the transfer market, especially for club sites? When it comes to countries, you can only select what is available to you. But even then, coaches still make the choice between player A or player B. So the kind of player you select can make or unmake you. So in that case, who makes who? Right? The coach has the option to select player A or player B. He goes for player B. And if we end up with a scenario where that player B that has been selected by the manager goes and fluff the lines when there's an open net or there's a 1v1 with the goalkeeper, they fluff the lines. Who selected the player? It is the manager. It is a coach who selected the player. But let's go on and listen to what Kwabena Eboa says after this.
They're important, so they will select the players, give them roles to play. At the end of the day, the players are on the field of play. They determine what happens. I've seen cases where footballers have the opportunity, for example, to convert from the spot kick. They fluff the lines, and the coach is held responsible for that. There's an open net, a player fluffs the lines, and the coach is held responsible for that. I struggle to understand. And we can go on and on. It's a massive debate, and I'd like to have us to have about 2 hours to discuss this particular subject.
So maybe before I come back to the audio, a little bit about the background of this video. He's talking about the new Black Stars coach that has been appointed, Carlos Queiroz. And he's trying to sort of also go back to Otuado's time with the Black Stars and kind of say something to the effect that it is the players available to Otuado that sort of didn't allow him to perform the way that we expected. And we put all the blame on Otuado. But I think where the writer, I respect him a lot, and I'm not here to disrespect him. We are sharing our views. He said it himself. This is a debate. We can have this debate for time on ending. But the kind of teams, when you look at Otuado's record with the Black Stars, the kind of teams we lost to. I'll even go as far as the recent Austria game, friendly match. So is the writer trying to tell me that Austria had far better players than the Black Stars to be able to justify the 5-1 defeat that the Black Stars suffered? So when we pick player for player, this Austrian team is 5 times better than our Black Star squad. And that is why we ended up losing the game by a 4-goal margin. I don't think so. So I do think that actually when it comes to the debate about whether players can fluff their lines, players can miss penalties, I think that is in one-off games. But the best coaches win consistently because they make the right decisions when it comes to selecting players, and also during the game, they make the better in-game changes. And that is what defines games. You can have 10 Messis in your team and win nothing if you are not a good coach. So for me, I do think that good coaches make average players look good, and bad coaches can make excellent world-class players look average. So it is true that coaches are not decisive, but I also don't think that the players are the most decisive factor when it comes to winning. And here, when I say winning, I mean trophies. So if you are playing a tournament, going from group stages through to the knockout stages and winning the competition, it is not about just the players. It can never be just about the players. The manager has to be very, very important. Extremely important. For me, I'll give the manager about 70% of the contribution to the success of the team and give the players 30%. Because at the end of the day, it is the strategy, it is the constant sort of attitude, the habits that the manager built within the team that sends you to the end. Player quality can win you a game, it can win you a match, but winning a tournament, winning a league, winning a title, I always think it has to do with the manager. But let's continue to listen to what the writer has to say next.
So Carlos Queiroz has been appointed. I think the FA had it right because he's not going to come under serious criticisms as Otuado. Because Otuado, when he was appointed, the criticism was that he never had any experience. He had never coached at the top level. He had never coached any national team. He hadn't coached at any club level. He was an assistant at Dortmund. So there were these criticisms. Yes, he aided us to the World Cup. Carlos Queiroz comes in as the most experienced manager ever appointed in this country since the inception of football in Ghana. I don't think any coach is coming with such massive CV. This is a man who qualified South Africa to the World Cup 2002. He's seen it all. He qualified Portugal 2010.
Yeah, so when it comes to this issue with Carlos Queiroz and his experience, I also do think that there are a lot of similarities between Carlos Queiroz and Chris Hughton. Both came with massive experience. When it comes to experience, yes, they have experience. But for me, I look at recent performance, recent achievement, not just the experience. So you could have the experience of coaching at the top level, but what did you achieve? What is your achievement over there? What is your recent achievement? So for me, that is the question that I'm going to ask Carlos Queiroz. My question about Carlos Queiroz is his recent achievement. Does it really sit at the place that puts the Black Stars in a good position to go on and perform well at the World Cup? For me, that is my question. And I'm not convinced that the answer is positive.
Thank you very much, sir. So this is the last question. Initially, you mentioned that a coach does well also based on the materials available to him. So I would like to ask, do you think Ghanaians were unfair to Otuado?
Yeah, so this is the question that I was looking for. That is why I kept skipping. He's going to talk about Otuado, and I have something to say here. So let's take a listen.
Was the decision maker? There was no I was going to kick Otuado. Absolutely no way. Because there is no way I was going to kick out Otuado. Now, when Ghana failed to qualify for the Africa Cup of Nations, if Otto had to be touched, that was the period Otto should have been gotten rid of. We didn't get rid of him at the time. We trusted him. We kept him. He came back, and he qualified us to the World Cup. Now, we went and played 2 friendly games. These were friendly games. And I had a private conversation with him only a few days ago. And the truth of the matter is that he explained that he had called a number of players and he had to give everybody the opportunity. This was a preparatory ground for the World Cup. It wasn't an end in itself. It was a means to an end. We lost massively against Austria. Who can tell me that the game against Germany was not an improved performance?
So the writer says that for him, he would have kept Otuado in the job and allowed him to take us to the World Cup. And my question is, I struggle to see what the writer saw with Otuado to make him believe that there was progress since the first day he stepped into the job. I'm talking about his second coming, not his first coming. Since his second coming, since the first day, can the writer tell us that he's seen improvement in the Black Stars based on what Otuado has been able to produce so far? For me, I haven't seen it. I didn't see any improvement. And the World Cup is a big stage. We can't go to the World Cup and disgrace ourselves and be a laughing stock. We need to go there and show something. So for me, there is no bad time for getting rid of the manager. Even during tournaments, managers are gotten rid of. So I don't agree with the fact that Otuado should have been kept. For him, he would have kept him. And that is his opinion, but I do disagree with that. Thank you very much for watching the video. Don't forget to sub and also like the video. Comment down below and let me know your thoughts on this issue, the issue of whether coaches are decisive or not, and also whether Otuado should have been sacked or kept in the job. Thank you, and I'll see you soon.